Hello, what's up, everybody? That's an interesting way to put the stream there. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Weekly Geekly. I'm just going to keep it real simple. Weekly Geekly. I mean, it's like the Piggly Wiggly, if you guys are familiar with that place. The Weekly Geekly, where we talk about various geek, nerd, comic book, superhero, science fiction topics. We got a few for this episode. I think we have maybe 5 now, so we're gonna have to sort of skip through everything. I am joined this week, as always, with Syberninja.
I'm busy. Yeah, hey, everybody. Hey, yeah, I'll call you back.
This guy.
I'm here, guys. What's up? Professional here.
Cyberninja, who has a wall similar to mine. It's almost like it's the same.
That's weird, right?
Weird.
It's like I'm there.
I know.
It's like I'm there.
I just realized that
the
I was
lighting is
talking with
different
them for like an hour, and
Yeah.
I just realized it.
Yep. We also have Omega in the house.
Hey.
Omega Weltall joining us.
Relax, people. I like both. I paid $300 for this lightsaber. I like both.
We got a few super chats. I guess we'll go ahead and get those out of the way so we can jump through the topics. We have so many things to talk about. But thank you guys for joining us. If you are watching this on Twitch and you can't watch the whole thing, remember it'll be available on YouTube for playback later on. So just go to my channel on YouTube and it should be there. And if you're on Twitch, you might be watching on one of these two guys' channels. So welcome to the show. All right, here we go. First question is from Jordan Arnis, a 199 Super Chat and a Team Eric member. He goes, are you surprised they're putting Wonder Woman 84 on HBOMax? You guys give me the hard-hitting questions for one of our topics right away because you saw it in the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about that. It's going to be quite a big discussion. I think that's probably the last one we'll talk about. So unfortunately, we will get to your question, but it's going to be like a little bit. So make sure you stick around for that or come back after the show's over if you're going to watch it on playback.
We'll timestamp it live.
Yeah, live timestamps. Victor Nietzsche and Chill with a $4.99 super chat. Any Team Eric member. These is the way. I guess this is the way. What was your first intro into Star Wars movie, TV, etc. universe? Okay,
episode 4. We
can answer this one because this is literally. We are going to talk about Star Wars, but I feel like we can answer this one. So my first one was, the 4th movie, like way back in the. I saw it in the 80s when it was on TV. I didn't go see it in theaters, obviously, but I did see it when it was on like television and everything. What about you, Omega? What was your introduction?
Actually,
to Star Wars?
my intro to Star Wars was Return of the Jedi. I just remember being very young and seeing like that one scene where Luke was fighting Vader. I remember that vividly, but not much else. I think that was actually the first Star Wars movie I actually seen. Because didn't Jedi come out like 84 or so?
And
I think it came out in 82. I can't remember. I think it came out.
We could look it up. Like we're all
sure the first Star Wars. I think the first Star Wars was 79. I think. Yeah, 78, 79, somewhere around there.
Yeah, May 25th, 1983 was Return of the Jedi.
Okay, 83. So I think it was probably like around 87 or so. I was like 5. I was born in 82. I'm old. So yeah, that was actually the first one.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's our introduction. Easy peasy. Paigey here says, please be a twerk along. Twerk along. I don't know about that one. We need to come up. If we're going to do a twerk along, we need to be better prepared for that.
No, I'm going to need more of these.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit before we get started. We'll start with Omega. What have you been doing this week, gaming or sci-fi related? I kind of know what you did because we talked about it. That's what we're going to talk about this episode. Let them know. So
yeah, I've been watching, trying to finish off Discovery and Picard. I'm not interested in lower decks. Been playing a lot of Phantasy Star Online 2. Again, some 14 here and there. Actually, I started playing Mass Effect.
I actually missed you on 14. Like every time I'm on, it's like you were on 2 hours ago.
Now see, it's like you were on like you just got off like an hour ago, and I'm like, good lord.
So that's what your week has been. Then that's what you've been up to. So
more or less
sounds good. Cyber, who seems to be in love with his transition effect here.
I'm letting everybody know when I'm checking out. I'm not gonna.
All right.
I haven't played 14 in years. So
okay.
What's today? Today's Thursday. What did we do this week? We streamed, didn't we? We streamed 2 nights. We streamed last night and the night before.
Yep.
Both times around midnight, I got raided by other channels, which on Twitch, that's when other people come to watch you, and they bring their audience with them, which is fantastic, right? Except both times it literally, for whatever reason, killed my stream. Rest in peace. Stream.
So
I don't know. Something's up with my internet, but yeah, we've been streaming all week. We'll continue to stream
the
tonight.
199 super chat is Ninja reverse you. Well, reverse Flash is actually cooler than regular Flash.
Yes.
So I would rather be the reverse. He can just be the regular Flash, and that will.
What is this?
That's it.
What is this? Take another picture of your background.
Let's see. All right. No. Lone Wolf here with the $5 super chat. Any Team Eric member. So I know you never talk much about it, but who was your favorite character season on Gotham? If you did watch it, for me, Jerome Penguin and season 4. So I can tell you my least favorite season of Gotham, which was the Wonderland season, which I believe was 3. I think it was 3 with the Wonderland character, the Wonderland storyline. I didn't really like that storyline. I liked every other season. I think maybe season 4 would have probably been my favorite if I had to like nail it down. And my favorite character, that's a really good question. I actually liked Gordon. Gordon was probably my favorite character on that show. So did either of you guys watch Gotham at all?
No, I haven't seen
I did not watch Gotham.
Okay. Well, there we go. There is your answer.
All right.
So, all right. So we're going to start out. First story. Again, these are out of order from what I sent to you guys, but it's fine. The first thing we're going to talk about is something that I'm curious if it's going to make a difference or not. Kate Bishop is coming to the Avengers game in a DLC, and they're apparently going to release her dad later on next year at some point, like shortly after the turn of the year. This game has been disappointing, I think, for most people, and they're having trouble with matchmaking, and I don't know how it's affecting people on Twitch that are streaming the game, but
just people streaming it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I don't. Maybe I'm underestimating Kate Bishop, but this wouldn't pull me back to the game. Like if I was somebody that was playing it and I had given up on the game, this wouldn't make me come back to the game, right?
I was actually watching the War Room like about a couple minutes before we started talking and everything behind the scenes, and I'm just looking at the character. I know very little of the character because if it ain't X-Men, I may have heard of it, maybe,
right.
But it's just looking at the character. She might be cool. She might play pretty fun, but just looking at the character design, it's man. She just looks like some woman in like jeans and a vest.
I mean,
she looks like just some regular chick I see on the street. She doesn't look. Where's her like super costume? These are comic characters. Why does she look plain?
Well, here's the thing: is you can buy costumes. That's what they want you to do. That's why they're making her look plain. Is
the costumes they want you to buy all look stupid.
But the point is, they're trying to sell $20 skins. That's what.
And the skins look dull as I don't know what.
What do you think, Cyber? What are your thoughts on this?
So, the thing is, right when the game was coming out, all the characters that they were pushing were the big characters from the MCU, not always the biggest characters in Marvel. Mm-hmm. And it's just a weird choice for me to pick a character that's not widely known outside of the comic universe. Like, you catered to the mainstream with the characters you placed into it originally, other than Ms. Marvel. But then you add as a DLC character someone that's not particularly very popular in a game that's virtually dead on arrival. Like, this game is dead. If you go over to Twitch or YouTube and you search for people playing this, it's not a thing. And while the thing is while that's not what you should create your game for, you shouldn't create it for streamers hoping that they'll keep life in the game. Yeah. There is some truth to the fact that if the game is not even 4 months old and it's already dead, well, you can't bring people back with a character that is not
no one cares about
going to sell the game.
Yeah.
It's a very, very weird choice for me. It has nothing to do with the character. She's awesome. It's just the simple fact that is in the MCU, which is what you were catering towards originally. You don't pick a character that's super well known. Like, I would have been happy if they introduced like a Quake or like a Luke Cage or something like that. That's at least out there.
Yeah. If they would have had Luke Cage, I'd have been excited. If they would have had like Jared,
can you guys hear me okay? Some of my mic is off. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. They said something about earlier about you being low, but I don't know if they're talking about you or Omega.
Let me
I just said Eric's mic's kind of it's fine for me.
My mic, it's showing up on StreamYard as working.
I mean, we can hear you. Let's see. Hang on. Let me unmute the live. Hang on. Yeah, no, I just unmuted you.
Can you guys hear me okay? Like, is it all right?
Yeah,
It actually sounds a bit better, but yeah, you're fine.
I just adjusted the volume on it.
Okay.
Is it better?
okay. Well, there you go. I think you're being trolled.
Oh, well, either way, I turned the volume up. So Cody here says it's synergy because shows are coming. I get that, but the show's not like close, right? Like the show isn't coming out when the DLC's coming out. I mean, if you're trying to
that show's not even. Do they even have the actress cast for that show yet?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I mean, my point is that I understand the synergy concept and I agree with them, that it would matter, but I feel like it should be closer to the actual series. You know what I mean? He does have a point. They do try to balance it that way, but I don't know if without the show coming out, I don't know. And again, maybe I'm underestimating the power of Kate Bishop. I just don't see her as a character that would pull me back into the game. If I were doing that, I would release like a character connected to WandaVision or something like
Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So maybe it's just me. Laura says, did you see the teaser trailer? I did see it. It looks fine. But my biggest concern is that Kate Bishop is a character that isn't, in my opinion, strong enough by herself to bring people back into the game. And I know they're adding in other villains and things like that. It's just like, I'm not seeing the amount of buzz you would expect from a Marvel property should be much, much higher. Like, I just think that maybe Hawkeye should have been the DLC and Kate should have been released in 2021. I know that kind of screws with the story, but I mean, another thing is it's games as a service. So you want people to play this game. When you have a game that's like a service game, you need streamers to play the game because that's really the only way it's going to survive in this era that we're in. So I think they just missed the mark on this game in so many ways. And I just don't know if Kate Bishop's DLC is going to be enough for me to pick the game up. And you know what I mean?
I can tell you it won't. I'm 100% positive that the game's dead. That's
thank
unfortunate.
You, Lone Wolf, again for being a member of Team Eric, always being super supportive. Thank you so much. Sounds like everybody's saying the audio is better, so that's good. Yeah. Let's see. We got chat here from Josh Z, 49 Super Chat. Just wanted to shout out Supernatural ends tonight after 15 years and 327 episodes. Heck of a run if you don't see the TV, let alone CW. Supernatural, I know this is completely off topic, but I love that show. I know it's campy, it's corny, it is monster of the week most of the time. But what a feat. There's going to be very few shows, if any shows, that ever reach the heights that Supernatural has reached in terms of.
And let's make this clear. It's not getting canceled. They're choosing to end this.
Yeah.
This show could keep going. I'm going literally right after this podcast. That's where I'm going to go watch the 2-hour series finale. I hate to see it go. For 15 years, we've been watching it, and it's going to be bittersweet. If you saw last week's, you would know why. But I really liked the show, and that feat alone is awesome. It's 15 series. 15 seasons. That's crazy. And I think only like one or what's that?
Oh, go ahead.
I think only like one or two of the seasons that I felt were kind of meh, but it doesn't matter. The fact that they've made it this far and they're ending it on their own terms is absolutely awesome.
No, it is amazing.
Great show.
Yeah.
15 years and 327 episodes.
And if you've never watched it,
got into it.
Okay, so if you're not watching it and you need something to binge for the next couple months, that is the show to.
You mean the next year?
It's great. It's great on a binge. Yeah, Amethyst, they choose to end it. Actually said it may come back at some time. Yeah, that's always a possibility. So we're gonna move on to the next topic, and the next topic I want to talk about ties in with the comments about the Avengers game and stuff. It seems like that with WandaVision right around the corner now, everybody's talking about Elizabeth Olsen and Wanda and her connection with the multiverse of madness with Doctor Strange 2 and all those things. It looks like they're in the heart of getting this going, like filming this movie and getting it ready for 2022, I believe, is when it's coming out, the beginning of 2022. And she's confirmed that she's going to be filming. So it looks like they're going to move full steam ahead with this. So this brings me back to this. Are you guys excited about the prospect of this Doctor Strange 2 movie and the idea of the multiverse and how it's going to connect to the TV show? Or do you think that the TV show being separate from the films may kind of screw up the movie stories? Because they did say it's going to connect. So I'm wondering if the movies, if it's gonna like you're gonna walk into the movie and you're gonna be able to know what's going on, or if it's gonna be like you're completely lost. How do you feel about that? The connectivity there in the MCU?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Do you have faith that they're going to be able to pull this off?
No, I think it's fine. Marvel hasn't really, like, they've had a couple hiccups in their series, and they've had a couple series end because it was written very poorly. But overall, they seem to do the movies right. And I feel like in this case, it's nothing to be worried about. I think it's okay. I think it's cool. And I wished, the thing was, I wished Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had more of a tie into the movies. I wish it did. It was great that they were like always behind the scenes, and that was cool. But as much as they referenced the films, I wish the films would have been able to reference them as well. So I think this is cool. I'm all for it. That's fine. I'm gonna watch both, so let's do it.
Yeah, I guess my only concern is that they may make it a little bit difficult for people to step into the film. You know what I mean? So what about you, Omega?
Yeah, but if you saw the first film, I mean, you're saying that you're not going to see the second one without seeing the first one, right? So
yeah, I'm more worried about the connection with Scarlet Witch with the TV show than the first movie.
I mean, I'm definitely excited to see how they're going to connect everything because Doctor Strange is one of my favorite Marvel characters now. Because I admit I totally slept on that first, but yeah, it's especially seeing how their multiverse thing and Wanda's weird 1950s sitcom vision thing is going to work out. I just like multi-dimensional type stuff. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, that if you ever did not understand the power of Doctor Strange at the end of the first movie with the way he handled Dormammu, and then when he went up against Thanos one-on-one, if you're not excited for that scene, still to this day, I'll go to YouTube and type in like Thanos versus Doctor Strange and watch that scene because I think it's just an amazing feat of power on his part. And
it's a visual masterpiece, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So if you slept on him, then you get an L for that because Doctor Strange is definitely extremely dope. But I really like the story here because this sounds to me like Marvel has hit a point where they're able to safely film, which means that we are going to start getting more things moving along. I am a little bit worried. The Eternals is supposedly completely done, and that one's, we don't even have a real, I mean, we have a date for it, but we don't know if it's going to truly, come out at that time or whatever. I'm a little bit concerned, and we're going to talk about the new formula we might be seeing with films and release schedules and things like that based on something that we're going to talk about here in just a bit. Any other thoughts on this before we move on?
Not really.
Okay. Victor, Omega. Well, we should all answer this. Star Trek or Star Wars with the 199 super chat?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Both. I like both for pretty much equally for different reasons. Star Trek is usually more hard sci-fi, which is usually pretty grounded, and Star Wars is just whatever is cool. Just throw it out the window. Just reality, whatever. Like lightsabers aren't really technically supposed to work, but actually there is that one guy who actually made a functional lightsaber.
There is a functional.
There's
one.
a guy who's made a functional lightsaber.
Okay.
So yeah, I like both for equally for different reasons.
What about you, Cyber?
Star Wars.
That was easy. He knew it right away.
Yeah, it is easy. But the thing is, Star Trek is very a lot of their stuff has great lore, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense, and it does. And they make sure that
they follow very rigid rule.
Yeah, the continuity is pretty much there, minus a couple hiccups.
Yeah.
But in terms of just me being immersed in it, I like the Star Trek films, right? But I didn't care for the series. I like Next Generation. But I'm not a.
But
I don't
which
dislike
films
Star
did
Trek.
You like? Because there's very different eras of Star Trek films.
No, I like them both. I like.
No,
both.
I mean, there's three. There's the original series. There's the Next Generation films, and then there's the J.J. Abrams.
No, that's what I'm saying. I like all the Star Trek films.
Right.
I don't dislike them. Just I prefer Star Wars more. Even though like you were saying, when it comes to the Force, lightsabers, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, the Force is literal magic.
Yeah. So, but I was okay with that. I liked that better. There was nothing better than watching the Return of the Jedi with Luke.
I enjoy both of them, but I think over the years
I like the Borg.
Yeah, I've become more of a Star Trek person over the years. I really like the idea of a utopian future versus the more Wild West that's Star Wars. So I kind of fall into the Star Trek idea and the ships and the different races. I just feel like for me, Star Trek dives a bit more into the reality of how space would be. I mean, I know it's fake, but they try their best to do that. Whereas I think Star Wars is more driven on the characters and their personal journeys, which I think is fine. It's two different types of storytelling. I still love Star Wars, but I think if I had a choice, like if I were going to sit down and watch something, I would probably watch Star Trek if I had an option. But thank you for the question there. Lone Wolf, question for everyone: Reverse Flash, Tom, Slade, or Prometheus, who is the best character for you performance-wise? Well, Omega doesn't watch the Arrowverse, so he doesn't have an answer for this. But I think
that's a really good question.
I would say, so we're talking about Tom Cavanaugh. So this isn't the Matt Lesher Reverse Flash. This is the Welzabard, so the one from season 1, Prometheus. Who was the best character? It's really tough because I think for me, Tom has had more time with the character.
Well, don't forget Slade.
Yeah, I know, but I would say for me, Slade is not an option. Like it's either going to be Reverse Flash or Prometheus. I think Slade is good. He's a really, really good character, but I think a lot of his work relied on his scenes with Oliver Queen. I don't find him to be as compelling as by himself. Whereas I think Welzabard is very compelling, no matter who he's up against. And I think Prometheus had such a very strong season with Oliver Queen. But if you take that away from him, I guess that leaves which one I think is the best standalone character. And I would probably say Welzabard. So Reverse Flash for me would probably be the best of those three. I think both Slade and Prometheus have an issue with anybody else other than their protagonist. But just my thoughts. How about you?
But you got to think though, right? Reverse Flash's only goal is he's not one dimensional. He's one of the best villains there is, but he is one dimensional in terms of he only wants Barry, right?
Right.
And I like Tom Cavanaugh. I think he's a phenomenal actor, but I actually like him better not as Reverse Flash.
Okay.
So for me, it comes down to Slade or Prometheus.
All right.
I think Slade had his character ruined, if that makes sense. So
you mean like at the end of like as Arrow was ending?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I think his character was ruined.
So season 7 was kind of a downer for you then, the Slade stuff in season 7. Okay.
It was. So for me, Prometheus, I thought he was. So here's what Prometheus did for me. He made me like the show again.
Mm-hmm.
As a villain, he made me like the show again.
Well, just remember the show had season 4 was horrible. Like it almost ruined the show completely.
So for me, I would say Prometheus.
So here's another one that Omega cannot answer. Favorite supernatural character, Gabriel, for me. Thank you for the super chat. That's a tough one. Is it cheesy to say Castiel? Because I really love that character. I don't know if he's because he's kind of a obvious choice, but I really do love that character.
It's Crowley.
Is it?
Hello, boys. It's Crowley.
Right. Well, there you go. There's your answers.
It's funny. It's not Sam and Dean, right?
Yeah.
It's Crowley.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what is this? I see a super chat, but I'm not seeing Naruto here. Victor forgot Stargate in his question.
You know what? Stargate's also pretty dope too. I like Stargate.
Okay, yeah. It took me a second to figure out what I was talking because it came so late. I love Stargate. My favorite Stargate is Stargate Atlantis, though.
Yeah, Atlantis is really cool too. Yeah,
but I like Atlantis for so here's the difference. Like I think the original Stargate is very Star Wars-ish. It's a military sort of type of show.
I kind of saw it was like it's more Star Trek-ish to me.
No, but I think Stargate Atlantis is more Star Trek than regular Stargate.
Yeah.
And then Stargate, what is it, Universe? I think that one is much more Star Trek-ish because they're flying through space.
Yeah.
I believe that was the one. I'm really sad that ended because I thought
it
got good at the very end.
Yeah, at the very end. Yeah, it wasn't great at first, but near the end, it really did start to get pretty good.
Yeah. So, all right. So we are at the halfway point. So I'm going to take a moment to thank all of the Team Eric members, and then we're going to jump into our big topics. We have 4 actually big topics to talk about. So this is going to be for all of the guys out there supporting me through the Team Eric function. If you don't see your name on this list, just remember that I do this once a week. And if you're not here now, you will be here next week. So here we go. Look, it actually faded out that time. It didn't, which is what it usually does. I forgot to take the banner down. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, I'll remove that next time I do that. I didn't realize it was cutting off stuff at the bottom of there. Anyway, so thank you guys again for your continued support. If you're interested in becoming a Team Eric member, hit the join button and see if it works out for you. Oh, wow. Look, Rob here. Babylon 5, Farscape, Andromeda Space. And
Ooh, Lex was good.
Yeah, I mean, there was some interesting. I think the 90s were full of so many cool
they really
space shows. So, all right, so let's jump into. We're gonna do our Mandalorian chat now because I think we'll go through that and then we'll.
Do I need to take this off?
No, we're gonna move right from that. We're gonna move right from that.
Into, some people in chat might say yes, but for different reasons.
All right, so this was episode season 2, episode 3, or chapter 11, depending on how you want to call it. I think it's probably more official to call it chapter 11. This was called The Heiress, and this was an episode where we got to see some stuff that I don't think we had seen very much of in Star Wars, and that was like actual boats on the water. Like this is something we don't normally see typically. I think the closest thing we got was when they went to the clone planet and we had all that Camino. Water on that planet. Yeah. This is a controversial episode too. For weird reasons.
Shocker.
Apparently, people didn't like the boob armor.
Neither Sarkeesian needs to just shut up, and people just need to stop giving her attention. Okay, as you all know,
I will agree with that.
As you all know, I am a freaking D&D nerd. You can see all the D&D books in the back and everything. If you want to talk about boob armor, there is plenty of art out there that has like just where they're just wearing a plate mail bikini that's not going to protect from anything. Yeah. The armor she had and Sarkeesian was complaining about was the tamest dang boob armor I've ever seen. I wouldn't even. They're just complaining that the woman actually had breasts and she had armor that actually, accommodated her bust size. It was actually comfortable for her to wear instead of if it had like painted on abs and nipples or like it just covered like it had like her complete midriff was showing. Oh yeah, I'm like, okay, this is stupid. What's going on here? But no.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like last week was absolutely insane. And this week is it's almost as equally as insane. I was watching the episode and people might say it's because I wasn't like looking for something like that it didn't bother me, but I don't think it bothered me because it didn't bother the actress who was wearing it. Right? Like, did the actress come out and say anything about it?
It was actually probably comfortable for her to wear instead of just smashing her chest.
No, actually, I think this was a very small portion of the internet that sort of started.
No, it was Sarkeesian trying to get attention, and people just need this.
And she's known for sort of stirring the pot on stuff like this. Like this is kind of her thing. So for me, I understand because a lot of people are talking about like the classical idea of like a armor with boobs in it or whatever. They talk about it like it wasn't really this thing that happened. And I get that, but this is a fantasy series.
Yeah. You know what else never happened? A lightsaber, space fights.
Also, you want to know something else?
Baby Yoda doesn't exist.
Yeah. Also in historical armor, like if you look at especially the Greek and Roman period, they actually had literal abs and nipples welded and hammered on to the chest piece. It's literally called ab plate or ab cuirass. And also in medieval Europe, they had cod pieces in their plate mail. No one said anything about that, but oh my God, Lord forbid a woman actually has boobs on her plate. Everyone loses their minds.
So it was crazy. I can't believe that she would even mention it. Yes, I can.
I'm not totally familiar with Bo-Katan from the animated series.
She's like from Rebels and
So was the animated version drawn in a way that showed the armor having a difference for the female?
I'm pretty sure it's the exact same armor.
Okay. Well, I know the helmet's because I saw pictures of the mask.
Freaking CGI cartoon, so who cares?
No, but I'm just wondering.
I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, but the only reason I'm asking is because I'm wondering if it was a creative choice for the director of the episode or if it was something that was like in lore, like if it was something that we had seen before. Because if it's in lore, then I'm guessing the bigger problem would be you would have an issue with everything Star Wars does because that would be ingrained in their lore. So you have that. but I just can't believe that was the one takeaway from the episode, considering how cool the episode was.
Yeah, Bo-Katan was freaking badass. And what was the other wrestler's name? Who was the other?
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. Yeah, that's right. They were both complete badasses.
Yeah, the whole episode was great. I liked the episode.
Yeah, it was fun.
The name drops, the Easter eggs, everything that was happening was really cool, because what this show is doing is tying into a show that not a lot, like obviously Star Wars fans know about. Like myself, I watched episodes of Clone Wars, Rebels, and stuff like that, but I didn't watch the entire seasons.
Well, I watched Clone Wars. I'm not too familiar with Rebels.
Right.
Well, like overall, Clone Wars was pretty good. It was pretty good. So I think it's awesome that they're adding this stuff to the show, and it also brings more, is validity a word, to the show, I guess, in terms of it being like super canon.
Yeah.
So I'm actually pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I actually hated Ahsoka Tano at the beginning of Clone Wars. Later on, I love her.
So now, I mean, how soon before do we know what episode she's going to show up in? Because I know I
hope it's the next one.
It should be the next one. There's only 8. It should be the next one.
Yeah.
If it's not the next one, it'll be the one right after. So it'll be those 2. But overall, I think the episode was really good. I thought it paced well. I liked the action. It was very interesting to see Baby Yoda get put in the predicament and Mando so easily. Mm-hmm. But overall, I mean, that was obviously because of wanting to add, the saving moment. Yeah. So I thought it was pretty cool. But otherwise, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, although I'm kind of worried that the Mandalorian is kind of turning into an idiot.
Yeah, no. So we talked about this in my chat for a little bit over at twitch.tv/Syberninja with an S, as it says under my name right there. If you guys want to go over and hit the follow button. Anyway, so we were talking about it over there, and pretty much he's kind of not well versed in his own lore, right?
I guess like his conclave kind of kept him,
but like he
away I don't know.
So essentially, he goes and tracks down whatever job he's hired for, or transports whatever job he's hired for, and supposedly does it with expert precision. And the Mandalorians are known for being pretty dope, and he literally knows nothing. Mm-hmm. He knows nothing. Everybody he talks to is a question about this, a question about that. He's never giving information. Yeah, Godspeed is the one that was talking about it in my chat. But yeah, so he never gives credit. I mean, he never actually tells people what he like when he was looking for the Jedi and stuff like that, not knowing about a lot of the stuff. It's very interesting that he didn't know about the other sections of Mandalorians. But I chalk it up to this. The show is only 30, 45 minutes, depending on the show. And to have someone always around him that's not Baby Yoda that he has to talk to, he would constantly have to explain what he is doing just so the audience would understand what he's doing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If he just does stuff because he knows in his head what he's doing, we would have to assume what was happening. So for him to have to ask, or for him to not know something, it does point to a character flaw to him. But at the same time, there's no way we would know this stuff if he didn't ask or wasn't told. So I kind of get it. And it does make him look.
The show is kind of in a weird spot because typically you have a character in a show that asks questions. There's always one character, and it's usually not the main character. It's usually a side character. And
but the side character is a baby.
Right. So he has to be not only the person in the story and in the moment, but he also has to be the person to ask questions. So, because you're not going to have, we would be complaining if people just walked up and started giving deposition. You know what I mean? Walked up, he arrives and they're like, "Hey, by the way, the shop's down here, and if you want to know where this is at, blah blah blah." All that would seem so unreal. But at the same time, he also comes across a little naive because he's the one that has to be new, like a fish out of water every time he gets there or whatever.
Yeah, every episode is a learning experience for him. It's like he's never educated.
When he sees the first guy take off his helmet, he's like, "All right, where'd you get that armor?" Then he says, "Oh yeah, I'm not really a Mandalorian." But this time, he's like, "Oh, where'd you get the armor?" "Oh no, we're actually Mandalorians." "Oh, you're from that cult." "Yeah, you guys are weird."
Yeah, and it's actually funny that they had to tell that to he didn't know.
Yeah, it's
that's what so.
Yeah,
but overall, that to me, I don't think it takes away from anything.
Yeah, that's kind of like the one nitpick I really have about it. But other than that, it's fine.
The ship is jacked up, though. I mean, that's just
Ship is real jacked up.
Shit is busted.
Also, I was a little disappointed that when he dived in to save Baby Yoda, he couldn't do it, and then somebody else had to do it for him, which I thought was like, oh, this is not good. Like, he should be the one doing it. But I guess they need to show how badass the squad was.
But you got to remember, just last episode, he was easily fine with getting eaten without the baby. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Continuity. It is what it is.
So overall, though, I think that it actually introduced a lot of interesting stuff. Was there anything in the episode, Omega, that was like overlooked that's like setting anything up, do you think?
Well, mainly with the whole thing with it's just because I like the actor who plays Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with him and his that one, I guess, the captain.
Yeah.
He was basically how he ended up shoots his two pies like, no, you're not getting the ship. I'm gonna crash it. I think that's whatever he's trying to plan on that end that we don't know about. I'm interested in what's going on there.
I'm actually really excited about the level of quality on the series. I mean, it feels like it's very cinematic. You know what I mean? Like even though it is a quote unquote TV show, it does feel like each week it's a mini movie almost in the way that it's done.
Yeah, it's like Hercules and Xena almost. There is an overarching story, but each episode is kind of like Monster of the Week type. I just love those type of shows.
Yeah, I actually wish it was a little bit longer. I think this idea of an 8-episode season I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer like 10 episodes. I think for me, 10 is a good number.
I think 10 is a perfect number as well.
I
think
like,
too many, you add filler, too less, not enough story gets told.
Yeah, so I wish it was a little bit longer, but I mean, I'm happy with it at the moment. So there we go. We did have a question over here in regards to what we're talking about here, which is from Double Crit. Who would win, Bo-Katan or Amidet Black? So this is a Flash reference.
I had to look up Amidet Black.
I would say Bo-Katan probably. She's just badass. And
so Amidet Black isn't magical or anything?
She is, but she's kind of a really, she's like a, how do I put this? She's not really an idiot, but she's not quite as skilled as I think Bo-Katan is. But that's just me. I'm gonna go with Bo-Katan.
Yeah, I just did a quick look through the wiki page. I'm like, hey, ain't this chick magic?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. In between topics, Lone Wolf with the $2 super chat. Best performance, Castiel, Lucifer, or Crowley. I think I like Castiel, honestly, but I think Crowley is the best performance out of all of them.
See, I actually think Lucifer is a fantastic actor. I think he's like super awesome in everything that
I've only been watching the first season, so my Lucifer is very like season 1 Lucifer. So
okay, but Crowley, Mark Shepard, who I met at Dragon Con, freaking phenomenal dude. I love Crowley. I loved where he took that character because Lucifer was Lucifer, right? He's Lucifer, whereas Crowley started as a what was it, a soul, like where like you give your soul to a demon and they do something for you or whatever. Mm-hmm. I can't think of the name of them right now. I'm drawing a blank. He took it from that character to the King of Hell. Like, great performance.
Oh, was that the guy who was just outside, just chilling, talking to people?
Yeah. That was Mark Shepard.
Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah. Super dude. Yeah. So he's like, we're there, right? And we're talking to him, and he's like, don't take a picture because I like his publicist or whatever. Because at Dragon Con, they're really, you can't take pictures of them. He's like, so we'll talk, but no pictures. It's like, okay, cool.
That's funny. Paige here with the $2 super chat. You're in prison, about to be yeeted. Final meal. What
yeeted? What is this? Among Us? Is one of us the imposter?
I think so. Yeah.
Paige is the imposter.
My final meal, I mean, what do I love more than anything? Pizza. So that would be my final meal.
Wagyu beef.
What did you say?
He said Wagyu beef.
Oh,
steak.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Oh, okay. So there we go. If we're gonna be yeeted,
thanks for the super chat, Paigey.
If we're sus and we're kicked out,
it's all good. I'll twerk for your PS5.
Naruto here with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. What are your thoughts on Wonder Girl? Do you think it will make her popular more quickly, being introduced in comics and TV simultaneously? So I don't know if you guys are familiar or not, but they announced a Wonder Girl TV series based on a character that hasn't even been put out yet in the comics. She's coming up as the new Wonder Woman, but they're going to make her Wonder Girl on TV. And all you have to do is look at certain shows like Arrow, where they took a character that was relatively, I don't want to say unknown because a lot of people knew who Green Arrow was, but a misunderstood and probably not highly celebrated character, and made them extremely popular, to understand that there is a chance that a new character coming out on TV that people aren't familiar with could be highly popular. Same thing with Stargirl. I think Stargirl's a really good example of a character that like the mass public probably didn't know a lot about, and she ended up being a very successful series. So I think there's obviously a chance of a Wonder Girl series doing the same thing. So.
I think it will definitely put eyes on the character. It's kind of up to the writers if they're going to make this a very compelling character later on. But just initially, yeah, it'll definitely bring eyes to the character.
So there was once a time where I think it was a big article going around saying, is there too much superhero stuff, right? And they were like, is it watering down? Yeah, my answer to that is no. You know why? Because there's so much reality TV out there that's unwatchable, and it's the same thing over and over and over. Right?
Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, season 500. Like,
yeah, it's like that stuff. I can literally go to YouTube and watch that. Yeah. I love superhero stuff. I love the stuff that takes me out of reality that I can go watch and get into, and in some ways like try to relate to. So as long as this character relates into what I'm interested in, I think it would be successful for me. But overall, I hope it's successful in general. I just like to see superhero characters reach greater heights. I want them to be successful. If they're successful and it's not a character that I'm particularly happy with, that means a chance that a character I am happy with will get a shot. So be successful. I hope it's great.
Look, guys, the thing is,
being in comics and TV simultaneously, I think that's smart.
But
because
also,
too many times now, but if you think about it now, if somebody like Supergirl, could you imagine if they walked into a comic shop right now? Supergirl, what issue?
Right.
Which universe? Right. Backlogs. You're clueless. To have it come out at the same time, that means you can watch the show and go get the comic book and enjoy them both together.
And the other thing is the more like unknown characters that get primetime shows and things like that, the more likely it is you're going to see your favorite character that nobody knows about put on a TV show.
Yeah.
So
let's do it. I'm happy for it.
Victor DiCiccello here with the Front Eye Super Chat. Will we see a reference into the First Order toward the end of the Mandalorian or during the season during the series? What do you think?
I think it's probably going to be near the end. I wouldn't be surprised if they mentioned it early on, but I think it's going to be probably near the end.
Because this is the perfect opportunity for them to sort of set that up. Like, I think
I'm so it's crazy because Star Wars, all people ever talk about are Jedi, right? Of course, Boba Fett was popular, but it's always Jedi and Sith, right?
Yeah.
In this case, I'm so excited to see where they take a character that is in the lore. Like Boba Fett, when he was written, was not supposed to be as popular as he became, right? It's great to see the characters, not only his popularity grow from where it was for being, 3 lines? To having an entire series dedicated to that style character. I'm excited to see where he goes. And if they do introduce that, it's like, where does this go? I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead, and Cyber's probably going to bow out on this one. We're going to talk a little bit about the new Star Trek series. So he's going to take a break. He's not watched it. He has absolutely no opinion whatsoever. But Omega and myself love Star Trek. We haven't talked about this before on the show, but now he's finally caught up. We're going to talk a little bit about Star Trek Discovery. So there's your warning. If you guys are not watching this and you don't want to be spoiled, you can step away. We're not going to spend a lot of time this week on it because we'll incorporate it more into next week's show or whatever. Star Trek Discovery, we're in season 3 already. It's hard to believe that it's already in season 3. I mean, it feels like so recently they just announced the series, and here we are 3 seasons
I remember
in.
For a while before it even came out, you was telling me about all the preliminary stuff, and I was just looking at it like, what the hell are they doing? What are these weird reptile looking guys, those Klingons? Why are they Klingons? I was ready to go into this series hating every second of it. I saw the first 2 episodes. I was like, I'm angry that I like it. I actually don't hate the series.
Well, I think my biggest issues with the show were in the first season, and they've really sort of gone away from that now a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't. I liked the first 2 episodes, and then it was kind of like, okay, I see where people are talking about. This ain't that great. But then once they got to the mirror universe, basically because it's almost as if they're trying to be like Battlestar Galactica, because as you know, with Star Trek, it was always more philosophical, more political. It was more, especially like episodes like Measure a Man, Pale Moonlight, in some of the other original series. it was campy, but they actually, like, even the ones with the one people face was black and the other side in fighting against the other people who the other faces side of the face was black and white or whatever. It was basically just a whole. It's basically just a whole essay on the horrors of war.
The thing that annoyed me, I think, with the series, the thing that annoyed me with the series the most was the Klingon stuff. That really did kind of sort of make me upset. I think it was a bit too far. I think if you want to make small changes to sort of reinvent the Klingons, you could have done that without basically changing the history of those characters.
Yeah, because the Klingons that we see in TNG, Voyager, and the rest of those, they actually didn't change until I want to say Star Trek 3. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it wasn't until like the motion pictures where they actually changed the Klingons looks to the ones that we know and love now.
Right. But that's been established, though. It's been so long that they've been established that way.
Yeah, it's been that way for so long, and then they drastically changed it to these weird blue and purple people. I'm like, that's not a Klingon, and it's supposed to take place 10 years before the original series.
Right.
That's what pissed me off.
It's too soon. It could have been a lot. If it was longer, if it would have been a longer period of time, I probably could have been more comfortable with it. It just, everything was so close together. And so I didn't really enjoy that. But that was season 1. I think season 1 was a rough start for the series.
Yeah.
I really feel like once season 2 got going with the introduction
it started
of Pike and stuff like that, and they tried to sort of fix things, I was enjoying the show a lot more in season 2. I think season 2 was when I really started to feel like the show was making some good decisions.
Yeah,
I think
they were making better decisions. Yeah, definitely. I think still wasn't the Trek that I knew, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I will say though, in season 2, I think one of the biggest mistakes at the level of the Klingons to me was the connection to Spock. I felt like that was another mistake in season 2.
Oh man,
didn't really work for me.
Nah. But one thing I thought was funny near the end of season 2, how they completely retconned everything. It's like seasons 1 and 2 didn't even happen. Didn't even happen after this.
Everything's classified. Nothing is known to anybody. And it's all gone.
So Spock just completely forgets about an adopted sister that he had. And so, what about when Sarek did the mind meld with Picard? Does Picard know about that now?
Yeah, it's weird. So the thing is that all that aside, jumping into season 3. The show finally feels like it is now where it should be for our characters. It
should have been season 3 from the straight up beginning. It should have been.
It made no sense for these. In the very first episode, they should have done it in the very first episode.
Years in the future, be stranded there and just go for it from there.
Everything about the ship, with the exception of the outdated technology, it belongs on a future show.
Yes,
like everything in it.
That was my main issue with this. Is like, why is this 10 years before everything that we knew? Even Enterprise was like 100 years before the original series.
Yeah,
it looked nothing like it. It's mainly because it was 100 years after the prime timeline. So it was like, okay, we get it. This is Earth's. It's pretty much. It's not even the Federation. It's Earth's first foray into the wider galaxy.
Okay, so. As of now, I feel like, especially with this episode I thought was really, really well done.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are finally, and people are asking about Manchester Black. Manchester Black was a character on Supergirl who is now Book on Discovery. So he plays the character of Book.
Yeah.
He's great on the show. And I think his chemistry with Michael Burnham is
and I don't even like the character of Burnham because she is a bit of a Mary Sue. But yeah, they were actually kind of cool together.
Yeah. I will say that at least in this episode, with what happens to her, the consequences of what she does, it finally feels like the character is being treated like she has to follow some rules. Like we've always had Star Trek captains that have gone against the grain, but they've always paid the price for it. Whereas Michael Burnham has yet over 2 seasons to pay the price. Right. So she's
being demoted, and which by the end of the first series, that's all been wiped away.
Yeah, and Saru is an amazing captain. Love him as a captain. Actually, one of my favorite characters on all of Star Trek. I love him. And making that decision, and Tilly backing him up on that decision, saying that I probably would have done the same thing, but she still needs to get in trouble. I thought that was absolutely appropriate. And I just really enjoyed that. The only thing in this episode that didn't feel like Star Trek to me in terms of how far they went was the heads exploding when they were running through the gates. Like, I thought that felt a little bit like a step over the line for what we would have seen in a normal Star Trek series with just the head blowing up or whatever when they ran through the little defensive line. I just don't see that as being something we'd see in normal Star Trek. It felt like it was a little bit too graphic for what we normally would get. And I'm not talking about J.J. Abrams' Trek. I'm talking like maybe, Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine days.
Yeah.
They did gross stuff, but I don't think we ever saw anything quite that gross unless you can recall something that was
Actually, it was near I think it was the end of the first season of Next Generation where they all just completely phasered that one guy with the parasite on the back of his neck.
Yeah.
And he just literally melts away.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty graphic. I don't know. That was the only thing that I really felt like it took me out a little bit. But I have to say, the idea of the technology about ships completely made of hollow technology and the nanotech ships that are compartmentalized where they can break apart and come back together, all of that is really cool. And it finally feels like the show, because they're retrofitting Discovery so that it can do those things or whatever. It also finally feels, go ahead.
I was saying also, I don't know if you noticed, I actually had to go back and watch it. They had a little nod to Aaron Eisenberg, who played Nog. They had the USS Nog, which was an Eisenberg-class starship.
Yeah.
And if you look at the ship and you look at Star Trek Online, if you look at the Iconian ships from Star Trek Online, you look at this ship, it's like they took some ideas from that. And Nog was pretty much your go-to in that chain of missions. He's like, you had to go to him for your missions during the Iconian War arc. I was like, okay, that's a cool nod.
Victor here with a 499 super chat. He goes, do you think Discovery is making you wonder about all the other series, what time change they have created or will create? So thank you for the super chat. The only difference is that they've traveled to a point in time that will literally not affect any of the other shows.
Yeah, it won't mess. They can literally still go past Nemesis and be fine.
Yeah. So I feel like they're in a good spot to tell the story, like with the burn and everything, which, by the way, we found out that it didn't actually happen the way everybody thought it happened. Like, it wasn't all at one time. It happened in a different time. Like, they thought that everything kind of went away at once, but I think in this episode we confirmed that that's not actually the way it went down. So what do you think of this storyline with the burn? What are you thinking about this, about the dilithium and how that affected? That's
almost as bad as like an omega molecule just completely exploding. Because if you're familiar with the omega molecules, they can, like, one molecule going, well, I guess supernova or whatever, can completely wipe out subspace warp travel for like light years. And if you still have warp, you could just go around it. It'll take you longer if you go around it. But no, this is warp travel as we know it is done.
Yeah, there's a lot of people complaining that dilithium doesn't actually power the warp drives.
I think it's something to do with it. It does. It's something with the antimatter thing. I guess it creates that kind of field so where you could contain that matter antimatter reaction.
Right. So it's like it's a piece of the puzzle. Without it, you can't really achieve warp.
Yeah.
What do you think about the mycelial network, the one that they use with the drive, to the spore drive and whatnot? I was under the impression that they weren't able to use that anymore, but they're using it now. So
they were able to use it because when they were stuck back in the 23rd century, Starfleet was kind of like, okay, this is too dangerous, especially after they jumped to the mirror universe. They're like, okay, we really shouldn't be messing around with this. We're going to go to a whole different universe and screw around over there. That's why they kind of just put it on the backside, which also that's what was pissing me off, is like, okay, you had a freaking mycelial jump drive that can pretty much you go from anywhere you want to the galaxy, and you just left Voyager out there.
Yeah.
So by the end of the second season, I was like, oh yeah, that it's gone. I was like,
but the other thing is that I thought that it was actually damaging the network, though. I thought that it was actually hurting the
I think it was, but they figured out a way to not damage it.
Okay.
They had to use the
because you've watched it recently. That's why I'm asking you, because it's been a year since I've watched.
Yeah, that because before they were using the tardigrade, but then now they're using Stamets, so you can just navigate without any issue.
Yeah, well, that's good. So I'm thinking that they're going to create probably or try to replicate that technology for other ships is what they're going to do.
Probably.
Because if you think about it now, not having warp actually makes the season feel like the stakes are higher. Because they can't just get anywhere they need to go or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, I think there's the 5th episode where they finally find a Federation. I was like, that episode finally actually felt like Star Trek to me.
Yeah. So I think for me, like over the last 2 or 3 episodes, I think the show is finally, and I'm saying this to anybody who isn't caught up on it, because we haven't really given away a ton of stuff from the specifics. Yeah. I mean, the bigger story arcs or whatever. And next week we'll do a separate, completely, we'll do a full segment on this. But if you have not watched Discovery and you do have the option of watching it and you just stayed away from it because you don't think it's good, give it a shot now, especially seasons 2 and 3.
Yeah, it ain't bad.
Season 1 is rough, and I totally get it if you're having trouble struggling through it. I mean, very few shows have an amazing first season. There's probably less than a handful.
Look at the first 3 seasons of DS9. Now, DS9 is my favorite series. It is awful.
Voyager pre 7 of 9. It was rough. It was rough. So
where I get the uniform from, The Next Generation, the first few episodes, the first seasons of that, terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much all we want to add about that. But Discovery, loving it right now. I think it's a pretty solid series. So give it a shot if you have some expendable money or if you have other ways of watching it. So there we go. Syberninja's back, and we have a super chat for him from Lone Wolf. It says Demon Dean or Soulless Sam.
Mark of Cain Dean was probably my favorite character in the entire series.
Yeah,
Mark of Cain Dean was insanely awesome.
Yeah, I wish there was more of that on the show. I feel like they missed the opportunity in that.
Well, like every episode they would get like the Winchesters would go up against something, and the bad guy would be like, ugh, and then they would and so it was cool to see them actually be able to hold their own.
Yeah, Sean here says that dude talking about Dead Space brought up on Star Trek shows in reference to the symbol Omega. What do you think?
Not sure what he means. What Dead Space? Oh, I think he's talking about the Omega molecule. No, it was in Voyager where they had they found the Omega molecules. That's where they had the Omega directive, where it's technically anyone captain or above, only they know about it. Maybe because the molecule is so dangerous.
They made fun of that on Galaxy Quest, by the way.
Yeah, one molecule can completely destroy subspace travel for light years. That's why no one should be using it.
All right, so we've got 2 more topics, and we are already coming up on the hour mark, so we're going to have to be very tight. The next one I'll talk about is quickly. We'll just briefly go over this. Zack Snyder wants his cut to be released in theaters as well as HBO.
I'm shocked. At this point, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like Zack Snyder puts Justice League 3 out and the Snyder cut. I mean, it is what it is.
Let me read his quote here. It goes, it's a little, so this was his comment when they were talking to him about it. He goes, a little bit above my pay grade as far as distribution. Well, actually a lot, because you literally would have nothing to do with distribution. The reality is the way distribution works, Warner Brothers and HBOMax, they have to make deals with all these different territories, and they're super complicated about the process of how they sell the movie. But barring that, with any kind of luck, in places where maybe HBOMax doesn't exist or something like that, there might be an opportunity to grab some IMAX screens. So one of the things he's saying is, HBO Max is not worldwide. There's a lot of places that don't have it. And it's very similar to how DC Universe was. Like they didn't have access to the whole world. So they come up with other ways to, distribute the films or whatever.
Kind of like with certain things are not some things on Netflix are not in certain regions.
Right. So I think what he's saying is he would love to find a way to not only maybe get it put out in theaters just for the sake of putting out in theaters, but he also wants to get it available to people who don't have access to HBO Max. And I understand that, but
add that's cool. That's fine.
It is cool, but I have to say that's not why HBO Max is doing this. They want this to be the reason why people
get
sign up for their
HBO Max.
service.
You get HBO Max.
So it's great that he wants everyone to be able to see it through distribution, but they are trying to make money. That's the only reason this is even happening. I've tried to say this so many times. The only reason we're getting a Snyder Cut, people think, oh, it's the Snyder Cut movement. The Snyder Cut movement has been basically hijacked by their need for getting subscribers to HBO Max. And the next story we talk about is going to just go into that a little bit more. But HBO Max is trying their best to get people to get there because it's expensive. I have it. It's one of the more expensive streaming services. It's like $15 a month or something. So it's super expensive. But
currently I get it free.
Right. So it is expensive, but they want to have extremely sought after quality content. They're not putting crap up there. I have to give them that. They're not just throwing anything on their service, which is kind of the loop that Netflix has kind of fallen into. Like Netflix has got to the point where it throws so much on their service every single week
I'll use this.
that a lot of it, yeah, I see. A lot of it just sort of gets lost.
Allegedly.
But I don't see an issue with this. I will say he says he also wants a black and white version. He wants a sequel. I mean, he said all kinds of stuff. Look, you've just been given the gift that no one has the opportunity to do. They never go back to a director and say, you get a do-over. Not only that, but it's exclusive, and we're giving you almost the budget of an entire movie to finish your movie that you didn't get to put out. So I'm not saying that he should be super grateful and be kissing their feet or anything, but I would say just focus on what you're doing.
Do you think I don't want to get too much into it if we only got a few topics left. Do you think like if he spends like another couple $100 million reshooting this? I don't know how much he's spending exactly. I haven't even looked into it because honestly, it's like
not 90 million ish. I think.
So if this makes that, let's say he breaks even, does that make this film a success after what it had gone through before? Like, I just don't understand. It's a whole different topic. The short version of it is release it wherever you want to release it.
So Maltor here is saying the prices of everything or whatever. It depends. Like, and you're also mentioning like premium streaming services. I can name 10 of them that are less than $10. There's a lot. There's more. Like, you're naming the big ones.
I was paying like 12 for Netflix, I think.
Yeah, HBOMax. I would say anything over $10 is pricey for any streaming service, honestly. But it is what it is, you know. A $15 price point when being brand new. And I've always said that I don't think Disney is worth the cost. I think Disney really is overpriced.
For what you get for it. Mandalorian. That's pretty much all I watch.
If I had like a Marvel show on there that I was watching or something else, I would.
They're stringing me along on Disney Plus, and I hate it because they're the stuff that I want to watch. I'm worth paying for.
Right.
But if I would have known it wouldn't have come out this soon or not this soon, I wouldn't have got Disney Plus until now. So, but I've had it since release.
Yeah.
But as far as the Snyder Cut goes, release it in IMAX. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I feel like, if it isn't well received, say for example, it comes out and people don't like it, what is he going to say at that point? Because this is him having 100% freedom to make whatever he wants pretty much at this point.
I mean, I don't like it now. So
yeah.
Sorry. It's such a Debbie Downer. What do you think of Justice League? Doesn't matter. Sucks.
Yeah. No. Lone Wolf for the $2 super chat. Thoughts on casting?
Spoiler.
So
what?
I know.
I have no idea who that
Are you kidding me? No. I think it should have been sadder for the fandom. It was sad. The speech that was had when it happened was sad. I think the way that it happened sucked, but yeah, it was sad overall.
Yeah.
I'm not watching it now. When I go back to watch it now, we'll see what happens.
Paigey here says that it's overpriced. It is. Disney, anything more than $3 for Disney is overpriced at this point, I believe. I mean, they're not putting out enough content.
I mean, that company is only about making money, and they're going to charge. Like, think about it. Like, for us, it's overpriced, right? For any family like myself that has kids that watch anything Disney, you have no choice but to purchase this.
Yeah, and
they can charge you whatever they want. They're
basically charging you to watch reruns. I mean, pretty much everything on their service is a rerun.
They like my kids watched like 15 seasons of Simpsons or whatever, like nonstop.
I know this
worth
is
the money for them? I guess
completely off topic, but we're between topics right now, so I guess it's not totally off topic. But on my Netflix, they do like the top 10, watch things right now or whatever. Can we please take Coco Melon out of the top 10 on Netflix? I mean, you know what Coco Melon is?
Nope. Looking it up.
It is a very, very, very young, children's show. It doesn't need to be in the top 10. You know why it's there? Because parents put it on and then let it run over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, and the kids just watch it.
Yeah,
nobody is going to the top 10 list of Netflix and going, that's trending, let me go watch that. It is literally for to keep your kids, when you're they can't go to school and stuff and they're super young. Take that out of Netflix. Take that out of your trending, please. Coco Melon. I don't know why it's on mine, but it is. I don't even watch stuff like that. Wow. So take it out of mine. Let's Let's see. Gary Gaman here with a 99-cent super sticker. It doesn't show up on StreamYard, but thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciate it. Make sure we got all the super chats out of the way before we move on to the last topic, which again we're gonna jump through that. This one, here we go. $2 super chat. What did you think of the Michael Dean possession? So I haven't seen that one yet, so that's kind of a spoiler for me. But okay, go ahead. I'm like a couple of weeks behind on Supernatural. So
I think it was very like, I don't know, it was weird. That whole story when it went down, like the way they were trying to, I guess, make you think. So I don't want to spoil too much. Make you think a certain thing was going to happen because of this. It was. You knew nothing was going to happen to Dean. That's the problem with Dean and Sam. You know, throughout the entire series, they're bulletproof. So it was kind of like it was cool, but at the same time, I was like, you just knew nothing was going to happen. So it was okay.
Gary here, one-eyed super chat. Is the Flash getting delayed later than February? No delays in filming. So I'm gonna bet no. He's saying yes. So we'll. Yes. And what about you, Omega?
It ain't coming out.
No, that's the movie.
The movie. He's talking about the show.
Oh,
he's talking about the show.
The show. So come back and check, and we'll like put like $1 on it and see who actually wins this bet. But
I'll do that. I'll put $1 on it.
All right. So
it's getting pushed back.
Final big topic is something that I think is huge. This is a huge deal. Wonder Woman 1984 is going to get an HBOMax theatrical day and date release with on the 25th when it comes out in theaters. It is going to be available on HBOMax. So I think this is huge. Now, first of all, I have said for a while now that at a certain point, the investors are going to go, you have to put the movie out.
Yep.
Because they can't keep delaying something, because they eventually have to pay people back, whether it's a loss or not. They have to pay people back. And the longer a movie gets delayed and the more money that goes into advertising, the more you're seeing that. So here's the thing, and most people don't realize this. Advertising is money that you literally don't expect to ever, like, you can assume that you're going to make it back, but you put it out there assuming that it's a loss. Like, advertising is kind of a loss for stuff. And that's the way the studios look at it. Wonder Woman could not go into another year of advertising and not making any money for the
people
studio.
Just get tired of it.
Yeah. So my thing for this is, I said, and this was probably 2 months ago, that we're going to see them do something drastic. And I didn't know who was going to pull the trigger first. I wasn't sure which studio was going to do it. Before I get into my thoughts on this, I want to know, because I've talked about this quite a bit on other streams. What are your thoughts on this? Like, what do you guys think about a dual release? Which, by the way, the HBO Max release is only going to stay on HBO Max as long as the film is in theaters. So roughly a month or so, and then it's going to go away. So if you want to watch it, you have to like watch it during that actual release window. So
interesting, being that how streaming has been increasingly popular over the years, and especially with the Rona going around, you can't really go to a theater at this point. So few theaters are open, and even still, only so many people can go in. So if you really don't want to bother with going to a theater, you could just stream it if you want it. So yeah I think
here's my take on it. All right, so theaters, for those who don't know, they make almost zero profit off of getting the movie in the theater.
Absolutely.
Right? Zero. Everything they make is off the concessions and food, drink, whatever you get there. So will this hurt the theaters? Absolutely. It's going to hurt them severely. But what is that also going to do? That's going to cause them to renovate, right? Maybe they won't have 14, 15 theaters in there because it's not necessary. If this becomes a trend for every movie that comes out.
Right.
So then it's going to drop down to 4 or 5 really awesome theaters with even better experiences that you can't get at home. My job, for those who don't know, I work for a cable company that does installation of cable, internet, phone. I do it for businesses and residential. I go into a lot of homes that have theatrical setups. They have theater seats. They have huge projection screens.
I bet it becomes even more common now. I bet it becomes more common.
It's seriously, a lot of the houses I go in have this. Even if it's not like the grandest stage, it's still a big room with projectors. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people have get-togethers to watch movies. Now, again, this is going to hurt the theater right? But you got to think most of the people that go to theaters, most of the times don't get concessions or they'll sneak food in. So they make money. Yeah, they make money. But the labels or Warner Brothers, for instance, they're going to get the bulk of the money, whether it's off HBOMax or if it comes from you going to the theater. I think this is smart. A lot of people that I talk to don't have time to go out to the theater, but they would love to watch movies, especially an older crowd that want to see these types of films. If they do this in the future, I'm all for it. It's going to hurt the theaters in the short term, but ultimately something else is going to come out. You got to remember, drive-ins were a thing, right? Drive-ins died, but theaters didn't.
Right.
This won't kill the theaters, but it's going to hurt them.
Though. They can definitely bring them back. Yeah.
They are around here. They're doing drive-ins where you go to see movies.
Okay, let me just.
You just turn to a radio station.
Could you imagine if you were able to go to a drive-in and they were able to set up a system so they could deliver a pizza to your car, or you order your food and they bring it to your vehicle? Like, I think that would be a big thing. I think it would be pretty big. So, but my thoughts on this are, number one, I've been asking for a really long time for Hollywood to step up and try to do something for theaters. And even in this article, it says Independent Cinema Alliance applauds Warner Brothers to take a possible hit in their revenue to keep people entertained and to keep theaters afloat a little bit. One of the great things is Patty Jenkins, the director of this movie, says that some theaters are going to rent out, like you can rent a whole theater for whatever amount of people, I think 50% capacity of the theater, for $100, and you and half that capacity can go in and see that movie just to get people in theaters and things like that. And I think that's a great idea. I think it's great. But let's not be fooled here. They're going to take a huge hit in profit from this. I mean, this may end up changing things, but they're taking a hit in profit. And I honestly think if theaters don't find a way to innovate by the end of next year, the idea of what a blockbuster movie is for us is going to be much different than what it was 2 years ago. Like,
I 100% agree with this. I think that this could have been one of the biggest moneymakers of 2020, and now it's going to come at a loss. No matter what, it's going to come at a loss. I think 2020 for a lot of industries is going to be a rebranding in terms of like how they either dish out content to the consumer.
People are already trying now. So
and how they budget their money from then on. I think that this is going to change theaters. The cinema cafes, the mom and pop theaters that pay to get the movie in there so that way you can go see it there, they're still going to exist. You're just not going to see, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 5 in the theater for 6 months.
Right.
That's just the reality of it. They're going to condense. You're going to see your theaters get renovated.
So, Gary, I want to thank you for your donation, 99-cent super chat. I appreciate it. I absolutely believe that what's going to happen, and this is just a speculation based on what I'm seeing now, is if this is going to be a thing for a while, like this format release where you put a movie out in theaters and then you make it VOD or whatever, maybe 2 weeks after it's in theaters, or maybe only during the time it's in theaters. I think we're going to see the price point move. I think in order for blockbusters to survive, $20 is not going to work. They're going to want to go up.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a movie come out at the price of like a AAA game. Like,
I 100% think that's fat. Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you want to see Avengers Endgame Part 2?
Only up $80 per person.
Because they can't afford to make the movies at the price they're making them and releasing them this way. And I think that's the reality of it. We are going to see ticket prices go up, or you might see theaters go, hey, come and see Wonder Woman 1987 and get a hoodie for $30 on your ticket price, just because because they have to do something to get people in the theaters.
Movie itself is not just enough anymore.
Yeah.
And also too, when the biggest problem you're going to run into is, we saw earlier allegedly a Fire Stick come up on Omega's screen. A lot of people get those, jailbroken and go see films, but now people are just going to be able to record it off of their TVs and then just put it wherever they want in full 4K quality.
Which is why the price of the film is going to go up. I think $20.
I mean, pirating is going to be so huge. But here's the thing, guys. Pirating is going to be huge.
Yeah.
But the majority of us that want to see the film are still going to see it.
Paige's got an interesting comment here. He goes, It's crazy that what would have been the biggest movie of 2020, not going to argue there, will be a movie that makes no profit, if anything, after the advertising spent. It seems like a massive loss overall. They should have just delayed Wonder Woman again, used another film for HBO Max if needed, but AT&T is desperate. That's exactly it, for HBO Max to work, and it's failing at the moment, so this is their power play, it seems. You are absolutely right. That's exactly what I've been saying. There are people who have invested money in not only HBO
into
Max,
this
but
film, and they're pushing it.
And they're pushing to get this movie out. And
Black Widow's going to get the same push, I guarantee it.
So somebody else asked earlier, I think it was Introverted Unicorn right here. Are they charging extra money on HBO Max like Disney did for Mulan? That's the thing. They're not. If you have HBO Max, you will get this movie as part of your subscription.
I wonder if they'll just do like specific show times. That would actually be kind of smart. If it said, hey, HBO Max, you can watch it, but you got to watch it at 10 p.m. on Saturday or something like that. I honestly, guys, I think that this is what you have to do to see your films in the day and age, at least if you're in America for sure, with the way Corona is. This is the way you're going to have to see your films. And I think that these films that were already done, I've said this before, Black Widows, Wonder Woman's, other films and other shows that have suffered from this. This is how we're going to have to watch it, and we're just going to have to chalk it up, and they're all going to have to chalk it up to a loss.
Here's the question. This is
but at least we're getting it.
This is the $1 billion question, I guess. Is this going to force the hand of other movie studios to do the same thing? Are they going to see more studios releasing films that are getting delayed beyond their, like, if you're a year out from your actual release date, because Disney doesn't have quite the same situation that other companies have. Like, their investment is totally internal. It's a studio thing. But most other film studios and other properties have investors outside of their own company, whereas Disney does not. So do you think this is going to force them on brand loyalty to do this because they realize that, hey, HBO Max and DC, they're giving their fans something they really want. Do we sit on Black Widow for another 5 months, or do we actually do a dual release? And
I think it's going to get dual released.
You think so?
I'm almost positive. Yeah. I think that film's going to get, and it's a shame because both of these films, it's such a shame, man, because both of these films had such weight on their shoulders and they were going to be so successful, and now it's just not.
Black Widow was one of the most anticipated movies because people have been asking for it for years.
She only got the film because people were asking for it, and that's what,
and
that
it was going to
actually
introduce the
thing.
Russian Avengers, which I thought was like all that sounds.
There was so much. I mean, again, it's still going to be good, but
yeah. Let's see. Paige here says, at least I get to see it in a cinema with a crowd. Well, the thing is, I think that any cinemas over here that are open will probably also release it. There's a theater and Cyber knows this, and I think Omega, if I can't remember if you've gone with this or not to that theater, but there's a theater like 4 minutes from my house. So if that one opens, I'll probably go and see it. So here's the thing, Introverted Unicorn, Black Widow doesn't have the same anticipation now. I think that's the problem, is that a lot of movies are running out. You can only hype for so long.
Yeah,
that's also why the investors are going to push to have it thrown out there, because their money has just gone to waste. And they're going to say, we need this out now, because they want to get some of their money back.
Yeah.
They don't care if it flops. They just want their money back.
Yeah. So Devontae here says, where is it at? And I want to comment on this because I think this is almost, Disney has 63 million subs and HBO Max has 8 million subs, not the same situation. It is when it comes to fan and brand loyalty, though. That's what you're not understanding. Fans don't care how many subs those two have. They're looking at the movies and going, hey, I love this property. Why is Wonder Woman coming out, but Black Widow isn't? That's literally how they're going to be thinking of it. It's all about loyalty to the brand. So it doesn't matter. Sub numbers don't matter at all in this. It's whether or not Disney is willing to stick their neck out like Warner Brothers is doing here. The sub count is absolutely irrelevant in this situation. I honestly, I think I would say, everyone, keep your eye on this. It comes out on the 25th. This is going to determine in a lot of ways how Hollywood handles movies for the next 5 to 6 months. And after that, depending on the vaccine and stuff, where it goes after that.
At least here in America.
Yeah, because there's a lot of movies that I think could take a hit and the studios will be fine. Actually, to be honest, the blockbusters are the ones that should take the hit, because there's a lot of indie and mid-level movies that have to have their money back to survive. Trust me, Wonder Woman 3 will still come out no matter how much money this movie makes. And Black Widow has there's no obligation for that movie to do good or not, because
she's gone.
It's the only film.
She's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. Sharp here goes, apparently Deadline is reporting out that Disney has no plans. But a month ago, Patty Jenkins says that Wonder Woman wasn't coming out on streaming. These statements from
once they get the squeeze, it's like Thanos. It's
dust.
Once that happens,
because
they're gonna release a statement, and it's coming out.
The thing about business is business can change at the drop of a hat. Remember when we thought that Spider-Man was leaving the MCU and then magically he wasn't leaving the MCU? Things like that happen all the time. Things happen like that.
The release date was today and not 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
I remember.
Paigey says, do I want Morbius out on streaming next over any other film? I don't know. It might actually be good. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a huge. I'm not backing it or anything like that. But yeah. Yeah. And Devontae says the companies only care about profit. Disney has a different strategy than Warner Brothers. You're still. Yeah. I mean, you're barking hypotheticals at me, pretty much. Neither one of us.
I mean, Disney has. I mean, let's be real. Disney has no. They're not worried about what DC's doing in terms of.
That's what I mean. Yeah, this would literally come down to whether or not they want to do something for the fans.
But Disney did this first with Mulan.
Yeah,
they released it on their streaming service.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, like I'm saying the industry as a whole, guys. Stop saying Disney. That's not. I'm literally not talking about that. I'm saying that this movie and this format could change the industry for at least the next 6 months, depending on how
the way that it streams. Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They did it with Mulan, and they're going to do this with this.
Yeah, but as far as Black Widow and Wonder Woman, the reason why I'm using that as an example is because these two movies were both highly anticipated movies that have been
very similar in
that have
genre.
been delayed. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. And as far as like talking about the motivations of a company or a corporation, I think at that point we're jumping into the territory where we just have no idea. So I'm not going to play hypothetical games about whether or not a company wants profit or not. You think Warner Brothers doesn't want profit? Of course they do. All right, so that's pretty much it on that one. I guess we'll see where we go from there. I
think there was a question up there.
From Lone Wolf. Yeah. $5 super chat. Did you like Gabriel? And without spoilers, thoughts on Jack as a character and if he worked for you?
I like the actor that plays Gabriel. I like Gabriel, and I think that his story was actually pretty cool in Supernatural. I think all their stories were done pretty well when they introduced all the different, historic or mythological stories of each person. I thought it was pretty cool. Thoughts on Jack as a character? Did he work for you? To a point, yes. To his end, yes. The middle part of his story, I was kind of like, it almost was like they didn't know what to do with him, and then they steamrolled him to where he is. I think it all happened a little quick, but at the same time, it makes sense. I like Jack. I like the actor. I think he played him very well. So I like Gabriel. I like Jack. I think that at the end, I almost felt like it should have been Cass over Jack that did certain things personally, but that's just a personal preference. So
yeah, I don't have an opinion because I'm not caught up.
Supernatural is a good show, Quentin. Supernatural, yeah.
Guys, stop trying to mansplain how businesses work in my own company for 20 years. All right. I understand profit. I understand advertising. All of this on a smaller scale is something I've done for my entire life pretty much. So I don't need other people not in the same line of work explaining it to me. I get it. Surprise. Warner Brothers and Disney are two different companies. Amazing. I was not aware of that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. I think that's pretty much it for tonight. We're about 20 minutes over our normal time. I think we try to go for an hour. Sometimes we go over, but we've had a great discussion tonight. And next week we will have some more topics for you. As always, if you are interested on Syberninja's channel on twitch.tv, you can go over and check him out. He may be streaming at some point?
We might stream tonight. I'm going to go watch the 2-hour finale of Supernatural. So if I do watch it in a stream and you guys watch it as well, you can come talk about it with me there. But 100% we're streaming tomorrow, guys. So, and also real quick again, because I don't know if this is going to happen before we go again, because next week is Thanksgiving. We won't be here next week, right?
No, we're not.
So
next week.
If this happens, it'll probably happen next Saturday. I don't know for sure. You can follow me on Twitter if you follow them. Fortnite and Marvel. Again, if you don't like Fortnite, I get it. But this Marvel event that's happening is Marvel. It's not Fortnite. Galactus is coming. We don't know what's going to happen. He could destroy the entire island, which some people might actually be like, that's great. We hate the game. But in general, it's still a Marvel event. If you want to watch this, watch your favorite content creator. If it's going to be me, come follow me there. I'm going to be streaming it live. Don't miss this. I'm telling you, it's going to be sick. They just introduced Venom, and there's so many superheroes on this island. And when he shows up, we're going to have to help fend him off. Come watch me there or watch your favorite content creator. Don't miss this. It's going to be amazing.
Omega, anything going on with you? Or are you going to be on Twitch with Cyber?
Actually, I don't know. Mainly it was just with streaming and stuff. I stream very sporadically, kind of just when I feel like. But replaying Mass Effect 3, I might stream that. And when Cyberpunk 2077 finally gets here, I'm definitely be streaming that.
So you got to remember real quick, if you're streaming Cyberpunk, you can't have audio.
Oh, no. They actually, in their live wire that they actually did today, they have an option where you could just hit a switch and
I
said it last week. That's what you have to do. So that's good to hear. In that case, fantastic.
Yeah, that's not bad. I completely lost track. Somebody's asking about the Batwoman trailer. I'm doing a completely separate video on that because I want to break down the trailer and stuff. So that will be out this weekend. Lucifer, somebody asked about that. My Lucifer videos. Yes, I'm still watching Lucifer. I have one ready to go up. I was going to put it up today, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow. So you should get a Lucifer video and a Batwoman video from me tomorrow. And as far as next week's Weekly Geekly, we will either switch the day and do it on the weekend, or we will just skip the week. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen. If big news comes out, we probably won't skip the week. But at least by next week, if we skip the day, we might be able to watch The Mandalorian ahead of time and get 2 episodes to talk about instead of 1, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Click all the links down in the info box for everybody. So
I'm not actually there. What?
I will be, and put this, think of this here, starting in December, I will be streaming Final Fantasy 14 games on Twitch. So if you guys are interested in watching me play,
give you shit for not healing.
We will be doing that in December. So there we go. I'll keep you guys updated on that. And if you're watching this on Twitch now, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you are not caught up with this on either Twitch or YouTube, check back in a little bit. It will be live to watch on playback with timestamps. For everybody that complains about no timestamps, I put them on every single one of these. Stop complaining. They're there. They just don't show up immediately.
No, keep complaining. That means they're watching. What are you talking about? Complain. You complain to him in the comments. If he ain't listening to you, you come complain to me on Twitter. You keep complaining.
I can't timestamp before we actually do the video. There we go. Anyway, we're out of here. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you then.
Stay default, you guys.